Good evening. Welcome to the Plympton Public Safety Building Committee meeting. This meeting is being recorded for cablecast and YouTube presentation by Area 58 Community Access Media. The video of this meeting is not to be considered an official public record. Alrighty. First thing on the agenda is an overview of the project to date.
Overview of the project to date. Couple things. One, we have our second bill from the contractor. The contractor has formed all the footings, is in the process of putting in all the rebar, preliminary checks on all the rebar, as the rebar are put in correctly, but we'll double check them tomorrow. And we have a pour scheduled for Friday morning for the footings. I got a call from Bob Carlin yesterday saying Dan, we still don't have a building permit. We did submit the building permit to the building department on May 8th. I'm going to have to hunt down why it's not been issued. I'm guessing it's something related to, something's missing somewhere. And, you know, the building inspector maybe has questions, I don't know. I've actually never met the building inspector, so this would probably be a good opportunity, as the selectman had indicated, for me to go meet up with him. So I will find out tomorrow what time his hours are. And those of us who are OCD can't handle the beeping sound. And
should be glad that I am.
it doesn't bother me. I'm like so used to new buildings with alarms. It takes forever to hunt down every little device anyway. So that's going well. I don't know if you sent those pictures I sent to you out to everybody. I hope you guys all like the pictures.
So do they, I was kind of confused in what I saw. So that they took everything out and then they put stuff back in, and they just put in, did they go down with a footing beneath that and then this is going on top? Or
So
is it stone around, it's the footing, and then this is just
So
on top?
they took out all the area that was no good down. They took all the area down to virgin soil, and then they went down an additional, I think it was 18 inches. Put in the stone, wrapped the stone in Marafi, and
That's the blue fabric?
that's that black fabric. It made it look blue in the picture, but it's a black fabric. And what that fabric does is it prevents the fines of the soil from seeping in between the stones. It's actually it's a good system. The stones is 6 inches taller than was designed because the building elevation. About, I don't know, a month ago, we had what's called an RFI that came in as to the elevation of the building was at the same level as the parking lot, and it was just too close, so they asked if they could raise the building. A sketch went back last week and the building got raised. I think I forget which one of you guys had sent me an email on it, that they had heard a rumor that the building had to be raised and so on and so forth. It's true, but it was also done within the context of the contract where a formal request was asked and it was analyzed, and then a formal response occurred, and then they went forward and did it. The contractor is not making a claim for the additional stone to raise the building, as he didn't want to wait for a change order. He just said, look, it's such a small cost, I don't want to deal with it, I'll take care of it. So
And so then they do the outside wall footing around that? And
So then they put the
slab?
footing in. After the footing, they start putting the bars in. So
Yeah.
this building's not like a house that actually has reinforcing rods in it.
Yeah.
And they've just started putting the bars in now. And they're probably pretty close, which, we're gonna check some of the dimensions and some of the corners. It's the corner, how they overlap the corner, that's the most important on the bars, because that's where the two forces want to move. And then they'll pour the footing. On Monday, they'll start slapping up the walls for the foundation. So they chose to pour, and at their own request and with permission of the architect, they chose to pour the entire footing at one level, as opposed to, they could have poured the Sally Port higher, all right, because they didn't want to have the Sally Port sitting on reprocessed and graded, which is, we get a far better job by the way this guy's doing it. So far, pretty happy.
How'd the material removal go? Did
Oh,
we have
no
to
problem.
remove as much more than? I mean,
We
that-
have no claims,
Okay.
not even for a square yard. So right now, we not only have no claims, we only have the PCO for a request for a claim, which is fantastic for the project, knowing you all know the finances of the project. So our biggest worry is getting out of the ground. So this is fantastic for the project. All right. So as of right now, he's a little bit behind his original schedule, but not concerningly behind.
Is that because of weather or?
Yeah, I mean, it's been raining, and, he doesn't want to go in there when it's raining, because the soil is such that you can't work on it in the water, because it turns to jello. And the geotech engineer was specific, you cannot disturb the soil when it's wet. The other good news is that after he put the stone in, and he started putting his formwork on, we had a tremendous rain for a day. And that's when I came down to fly, because I wanted to see how we were draining. And if you saw the pictures, there was no standing water, which is great for the project, which means we're not probably never going to have wicking going up the building and making the slab damp or anything like that. So it's good. I'm pretty happy with where we are. The architect has been pretty responsive on his end of it. The one item that I need from the town is on the electric service. We need a letter from the town, and I will see the town administrator on this tomorrow. We need a letter just saying that the town will pay the costs of bringing the electric service in. If you remember, we had a utility mitigation line in there, and there's a utility mitigation line because we know something's going to be charged back to us. We don't know what it is. All right, so that letter needs to go. They won't do anything with it. So we asked for service. They said we need a letter from the town. That came up on Tuesday. So I got that notified. Other than that, I really don't have anything else to report other than to pay 2 bills. And I can be on my way, unless you guys have something you want to talk about.
I do.
Go ahead, shoot.
I had we work with John Mathias on the Board of Health. He is one of the subs over here, and he approached me as to the grade height of that slab, okay? I didn't talk to him. I didn't go looking and saying, how's the grade height?
No,
Okay, so just to be perfectly clear.
that's fine.
He approached me and he said, I cited that. Now, John is a former town official. He's got a great reputation in town, and he stands nothing to gain out of this conversation. If we buy a little more crushed stone from John Norrie or whoever we bought it from, John doesn't make a penny. So what he said to me, and I know we've had some issues with the architect in the past, okay, including raising this 6 inches because it was cited too low. He said, I cited this, he says, I still think it's too low. And I'm concerned because if there's an issue, now's the time to deal with it at minimal cost rather than putting swales in and all kinds of. So my
your
concern
concern
on
is-
the record is,
Your concern on the record is that even raising it 6 inches, it's not enough.
well, I don't know.
So-
I do not know.
So the site engineer, the professional engineer that is responsible for the site drawings, has issued a drawing raising everything up so that everything works. So we know it works, okay?
Okay,
And we
but-
know that there's not going to be water infiltration into the building from the parking lot, based on the change. What John didn't know, and why I wrote back to you, was not
No, that was Harry.
wrote back to Harry. Well, I didn't know he was talking to you too. The reason I wrote back is this is the first of many rumors and innuendo you're going to hear, because you're going to know a lot of people on this job. It's not going to be just John. There's going to be guys that you grew up with that are working on this job, and all of them know better than the design architect who's responsible for the project. So, and I don't know who John is. I don't really care who John is. I think it's great that he reached out because he thought there was a problem, but that problem was already in the works unbeknownst to him, that question had been raised. We just hadn't responded to an answer yet, because just saying, yeah, raise the building is not an answer that we'll give. It has to be from the engineer, and it has to be approved by the structural engineer and the geotech engineer. All those steps had to occur before we could issue the okay to do the solution.
Right, and I get that.
So now the solution,
But, in my mind, the mistake was still made by the engineer in the beginning.
The mistake-
And I just want to be, as a resident, I want to be certain that there are no issues. Measure twice, cut once.
right. So there are no issues right now because the grading plans are such that the building is 6 inches higher than the pavement. Okay? So
Okay.
from the buildings, the slab on grade to the asphalt is 6 inches, and there'll be a slight pitch to get to the 6 inches. And that happens to be within the ADA requirements of getting from
Yeah.
the parking lot to the building. All right?
Okay.
It's a good question. When I responded, I wasn't responding to be mean or nasty. I was responding because I've been on doing this for a long time, and it happens.
And that's why I responded back.
Yeah,
I've
no,
been doing it for 32 years.
I get it.
I followed the rules.
You did.
I called my OPM.
Right, and you did. And I responded, and I hope I wasn't too nasty in my response. But what I do want to say is that, we're going to have a lot of issues before we're done. And when you hear something, see something, say something, if you just call me, because I might not know it. I'm okay with you guys calling me and saying, Dan, I heard about X or I heard about Y. What I don't want to get into is all of us chasing our tail on issues that may have already been resolved. This one hadn't been resolved from the standpoint we hadn't issued the solution, but we all knew about the solution based on our RFIs. So I think maybe it would be a good idea.
Well, he mentioned this to me less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I understand.
So, I mean, he knew that there was a change already done, and he didn't think the change was high enough. And I'll being a neophyte, okay? I do remember when the windows blew out of the Prudential building. I remember the Hancock Tower. I remember the big dig. Okay, I can remember any number of architect screw-ups.
Do you know
and
why? Do you know
engineering
why that the windows blew out of the Hancock? Because that was my senior dissertation when I was in school in Washington D.C.
Wow.
How do you like that? You want to know why it happened? Because it was at the beginning of insulated windows, and there were metal clips on the four corners, and as those windows heated up, the clips prevented the windows from expanding and contracting, and they caused them to crack. They actually had to replace all 10,444 windows in that
I
building.
think Jerry Ellis bought most of
Jerry
them.
Ellis bought a ton of them. So that's a true story. Yeah.
Building 19. They were for sale at his
Oh, yeah.
doors.
11-foot windows.
Wow.
And some of them, they cracked in people's homes if the sun hit them the right way, because the same problem occurred. That building was studied more than any other building built by man, including the pyramids. They had thousands of people trying to figure it
There
out.
was another little-known fact that when that tower was put up, the water table in, what do they call it?
South Bay.
Back Bay.
Yeah.
Raised, and a lot of the elevator pits in most of the buildings flooded.
Oh, yeah. The Trinity Church won a huge settlement for the fact that they lost a retaining wall, and the mud underneath the church moved. And it wasn't that the mud moved, the church didn't move. It was that it exposed all the cedar piles that were on it, and they started to rot.
Yeah, then they had to replace it.
And then they had the real
Same
problem.
thing at the
So,
public library.
yeah. So anyway, what I'm going to do starting at the next meeting next month is I'm going to bring the RFI log and the PCO log. I didn't bring it now because we don't have much on it. So you guys can see what claims have been proposed, and you can see what questions have been asked. Some of the questions are pretty darn bizarre. All right, a lot of them are, what's the color for this, or what's the thing for that, or a lot of really easy questions. But
I have a question. You're going to bring what? RFO and what?
RFI, which is the
Which is-
request for information log.
Okay.
So the contractor can't just build this and assume anything. If there's something he doesn't understand, he puts in what's called a request for information, RFI. The PCO log is a proposed change order.
Okay.
Right now, I have 0 proposed change orders, and I probably got 8 RFIs, which at this point in the job, both of them are extremely low. All right, which is very good.
Because every time we have a change of order, that costs us more money, doesn't it? Am I?
Well, if we approve it, it costs money. We'll get PCOs in that we reject,
Okay.
all right?
All the RFIs have been answered.
All the RFIs have been answered. And timely, all right? On the raising of the building, we actually, took the extra time to do it right and redraw the drawing, as opposed to just saying, yeah, we'll raise it. We have a drawing that shows the new grades.
Okay, then. Any other committee concerns right now? We're good? Okay, on
Wait a
our,
minute, I think,
just on our last meeting, we did ask, and I did forward the request to you by email about getting the driveway cut designs from,
Right?
and,
I'm not there yet with him.
okay, so we're still working on
We're
that.
still working on that.
And actually, this is kind of.
He has been notified that we want it.
Okay.
I just haven't gotten anywhere with it.
I think this is Carolyn coming in, and Bob had a question about, I think it was Bob, the size of the underground tank. Was that Bob that raised that last time?
I don't think we have an underground tank.
In the Sally Port, sorry.
Are you almost ready to get started?
I think it was wasn't it the underground tank for the wastewater for the
Yes,
Sally?
the waste-
Under the Sally Port.
Oh, the tight tank.
Yeah, that was a
Sally tank.
huge tight tank under there.
Engineers have requested. Because you can't put that into the septic. You can't put that into septic. That's why it's a tight tank. You'll pump it once a year. If it doesn't
Sally
evaporate
Port?
out
Yeah,
Sally Port.
Was that your concern last time?
They said it's 5,000 gallons, all right? Why so big?
Probably in case they have a brawl in the Sally Port, they can spray all that down.
Get all the blood down into where they can't see it.
Right, pretty much. That's pretty much why.
I mean, the plumbing inspector questioned it. He goes, that's enormous. He said he hadn't seen one that big. That was about his only question.
I mean, I can reduce it if you want it reduced, as long as it meets code.
Yeah, he said something like a 1,500 or 1,000 gallon tank. I don't know.
Put that in my
I
note.
mean, I'd ask him, but would we save money on it?
Of course we would.
Enough to get a new driveway,
Not enough to get a new driveway.
basement?
And no Pete side.
Damn.
Jeez.
Did Tom show up?
Is Tom the building inspector?
Yeah. I'd like to know why there's no building permit.
It was applied for on May 8th. We're waiting on him.
He's waiting on stuff from the architect. He's just not giving them, he's not even getting back to him.
Well, I don't know of that.
Something about the fire protection, I want to know why it's not sprinkled.
That's on the code analysis.
I know. That's the 8th edition of the building code. We're working off of the 9th edition now. So, how's everybody's day? Just have the engineer get to him. so-
I will do that. Is that his only issue left?
There was something else. I don't know. Just simple stuff.
When is he in, so I can come down and meet him?
Monday nights, 5 to 7. I think there was some structural references that he needed calcs on, but I forget what they were.
If it's the trusses, the calcs will come during the submittal process. The load gets put on the drawings, and then the submittal process does the calcs,
Yeah.
which he can have,
I think the major complaint was the engineer just wasn't getting, the architect wasn't getting back to him
Okay.
in a timely fashion. He wants to issue the permit. Pizza, P-I-C-C-A, 2 C's. On both.
We call him AHJ now, we don't call him building inspector anymore.
Oh, you're already having jurisdiction?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
We changed the rules on that about 2 years ago. It's no longer the building inspector. It's AHJ. Okay.
Harry, you had something else?
I
You had another question?
just wondering, back on the driveway and the drawings and
Yep.
specs and such on that, what's the holdup, Dan?
I think the holdup is I haven't been pushing him, to be honest with you. I let him know that we're looking for it. He acknowledged it. I just haven't pushed him. Right now,
But this is something that he knows about and has known about quite some time.
he has known about it for quite some time, and I believe he owes it to us, and I will get it out of him before I'm done.
Do we owe him
I
anything?
just, we don't owe him nothing.
Damn.
Well, we have it.
And we have, I don't know.
Yeah, we've been asking for it since March,
I understand.
you know, so,
Before that.
I understand.
Before that.
Right?
Okay, anything else?
I will also ask him to come to the next meeting with it. How's that?
Okay.
bring the rubber hose.
I don't know, did it?
And should he not give it to us at the next meeting, we can punch him out in the Sally Port and wash all the blood down into the new tank.
Well, be safe.
Okay, so we have minutes from the 5/9 meeting. Does anyone have any amendments to those?
No?
Okay,
Yes,
motion,
yes, I do.
you do?
Well, wasn't this where the,
No, that was on my agenda.
oh, okay. No, I don't.
Okay, so motion to accept these as written.
Made?
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, everybody have a chance to look at the newsletter? Everybody happy with it?
It's now out of date.
We have a newsletter?
Another one's coming out in about a week. As soon as we pour the footing, I'm sending you another one.
I'm about 4 hours behind schedule today, so.
Okay. Any other business then?
Well, the only thing, I don't know if everybody knows, on the agenda.
Yeah,
We
we'll do-
changed the date.
Right, to 7.
Yeah, I
It
had,
said 4/11.
I had written April, but
7/11, I
it's
think.
July,
Yeah.
yes. So our next
We're not meeting till next April, so you guys can't beat me up over the driveway till April.
We'll find you.
When is the next contractor meeting?
Today's was canceled at the request of the contractor, and I asked to meet Zell down here, but he couldn't do it, so it'll probably be next Wednesday. So
Okay.
I'm trying to get that coordinated.
Okay, just
All
curious.
right, I'll let you guys know.
All right, we have two invoices. We have one from Context for $15,000 for construction administration. This has been approved by our OPM.
So this is the standard monthly fee that he's going to charge us till we're done. And, you know, he's one of the few architects that's spacing it out the whole job. Usually they front load it because most of the work in construction administration is done in the first 3 months, approving all the submittals, but they're just spacing it all the way through, which I think is to our advantage. So we recommend you pay it.
So,
And this is one that I'm willing to sit on. Until we get some.
That's entirely up to you.
On the driveway and. we've
It's
been asking
entirely up
long
to you.
enough.
I feel the same, but I would go along with paying just this one, no more, until we get those numbers.
I'll let him know.
That's it.
Like,
We're out of money until we get what we've been asking for 4 or 5 months now.
And I think the point is that there's a need for us to do some planning on that.
I understand.
And so it's not just that we're stomping our feet and,
No.
you know, outside the playground sandbox. This is important for us to have the information to be able to see what we can,
Yeah,
what
it's
else
just
we
what
can
we've been
do so that
requesting.
we can get that part done as well.
Okay,
okay, so it sounds to me like we're agreeing that we're going to
with a note.
pay this one with a note.
Yep.
So, motion to,
Motion to pay made
With a note.
and a
with a
second.
note. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will make sure that that is extremely, he understands it.
All right, so now we have one from the contractor, and I'm not sure I can read this. What are we looking for now?
So you're always paying this amount right here where it says current payment due, so it's $91,295. The backup, if you want to go through it all, is in the
See it?
current payment due, which is form foundation, rebar, all percentages of what he has.
And this is all looked at and approved by.
Yeah, both Zell and I have approved it, although I will admit Zell approved it VIA, aerial photography. And I crashed my drone,
That's sad.
stuck in a tree,
Still up there?
lost the propeller mid-flight. I was having the perfect flight, and then I lost the propeller. And it wrote, lost propeller. And they started doing this.
So why does a propeller come off?
I don't know.
That's kind of like,
It's never happened before, and it's the drone.
Engine shouldn't fail on planes either.
The master of the understatement.
But I can tell you it will not fly with 3 or 4 blades, as a matter of fact.
As evidence.
It's still in the
And I
tree.
was at 200 feet.
So it was a soft landing.
It's actually stuck in a tree out there.
Yeah,
I asked the fire department if they'd come out
So what's
and
Christian
grab
doing
it for me. They said,
is it really?
I gotta take the tree down tomorrow. It's a little baby tree, but it's up about 30
out
feet.
there?
Yeah. Okay,
Okay, so, motion to approve this bill for payment.
So moved.
And a second?
these are extras if you need them
All
for
in favor?
record or not, I'll take
You want to take one and give
take
us
one.
one?
Yep.
Okey dokey. Well, that pretty much covers everything tonight, yeah?
That's it. Told you it would be easy in the first couple of months.
All right.
And it's even easier since we don't have any claims. It starts getting a little sticky when we get claims, but it's, we're in really good shape right now. And the contractor's still being a gentleman, he hasn't turned on me yet.
Wow. Is that a record?
Huh?
Is that a
6
record
weeks,
for what,
6
6
weeks
in?
without an F-bomb is
Just
pretty
not-
good.
Not talking to him much?
No, I talk to him about every other day. We were supposed to pour that footing a week ago. So,
Rather than do it right.
no, I'll tell you, it's a nice, neat site. You can see how neat the footing is. Usually the footings are this sloppy little
Yeah.
thing, and I couldn't hear English out of anyone that was putting them together.
So the trailer we got from Mod Space? Am I the only one that sees the humor besides John?
I don't get it.
We were contracting
Part of the.
them.
Yeah,
Oh, is that-
they
the
presented to us.
modular-
Mod Space?
Yeah.
With the modular piece, when we were talking about the modular.
I am actually doing a 4-classroom edition with Mod Space in Belmont right now, and I drove down to their factory down in,
Lakeville?
no, Mod Space's factory was in,
Bedford or,
no,
no, it's Connecticut, isn't it?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It was quite an operation they have, but it was all wood framed, particle board. They didn't even screw the drywall. They put 4 nails in the drywall, and then they spray the back and create a bond between the drywall and the.
So as long as the glue doesn't break down, we're all set.
If the glue breaks down, that classroom's going to fall apart, fall a particle
It's
board.
gonna be like a
So
bad money type of.
it's going to be a bad. And the glue's going to be on the OSHA banned list in about 3 years, and they're going to be doing an abatement. So that's it.
I have a question that somebody has asked me.
Okay.
Is there going to be a groundbreaking ceremony?
That is entirely up to this committee. Thank you for bringing it up. If you want to have a groundbreaking ceremony, pick a date and we'll do it.
Do we have to put
People
back
have asked
together
me.
and then break it, or?
No, normally groundbreaking occurs after the pile of dirt like we have now, so people can see something. You don't really do it with nothing. So,
At town meeting, somebody asked me that, so.
it's a good question.
A ribbon cutting.
You can do a ribbon cutting instead. You can do a groundbreaking, you can do a ribbon cutting. You can do a topping off when the last truss goes up. There's 100 things you can do, but it's entirely up to you guys.
Well, we have the shovel. Somebody told us we had the shovel.
We don't have a chrome shovel, though.
So is anybody interested?
Chrome shovels are $500, and those were cut from the budget about 8 months ago.
I didn't think they were ever in the budget.
Oh, they were in there.
Oh, that was.
They were always in there in the beginning.
That was the 6.4 million.
Somebody sprayed one, was it for Cisco? They sprayed one?
Wait, I mean, my 2 cents, I think
Party
I'd wait
when we
for the
open.
ribbon cutting at the end. I mean, that's the real
Up to you guys.
celebration.
It
But
just feels more Plympton.
Only one person asked, it's not the end of the world.
What?
There,
Only
the
one
party.
person asked.
You know, I mean,
Well,
it's,
actually,
I
a
think we
couple.
do something with the gorilla cage.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That'd be fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna probably put the OPM in the gorilla cage after you move.
There's gonna be a picture that we can put up on the wall in the police station.
Well, that's
Your
when we'll get
Christmas
the
card.
fire station, put it up in the trade
There you go.
The gorilla
next
cage.
to the ground. Yeah, I think a grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony would be better than standing around a pile of dirt, but.
The one other thing I didn't add to the report was I did meet with the chief, and we called the sheriff's department to start coordinating the painting portion of the project. So he's working on that paperwork. The chief is working on that paperwork now. All right? That's it. I'm out of here. Huh?
You're in a hurry to leave.
No, I just have to go to the bathroom.
Do an inspection.
Okay, so nothing else. Next meeting is July 11th. Motion to adjourn?
Made?
Second?
See you guys after the
Aye.
4th.
Okay.
All right?